Hello everyone and welcome to my presentation. For my change project, I've chosen to examine the Specimen Electronic Transportation System in use at my hospital. The system allows the emergency department and inpatient wings to transport specimens to our laboratory without personnel having to physically deliver them. It is an essential, time-saving tool and has been in place for many years. It's commonly called the bullet as specimens are shot directly to our area. When the bullet arrives, sounding like a small incoming aircraft overhead, an extremely loud and irksome alarm sounds until physically silenced by attending staff. The problem that employees are experiencing was brought on when the delivery spot was changed to the center of the lab and alarms were added. The original delivery location was in the phlebotomy area, where phlebotomists man the station. With laboratory changes in process and personnel, however, the delivery location was moved to a central processing area in the lab and is to be manned by all employees. The director informed all of us that it is everyone's responsibility to get specimens that arrive. This is great in theory. However, by making it everyone's responsibility, it has essentially become no one's responsibility. It would be almost funny to watch people studiously ignore the incessant alarm if it wasn't such a serious problem. We've had an excessive amount of turnover and absenteeism in the laboratory recently, and we are very short-staffed. As a medical technologist, it is very frustrating to be performing my technical duties and be required to walk away from my work to get the bullet. It is poor patient care to walk away while processing our specimens, and many mistakes can be made as a result of these disruptions. However, it is critical that the specimens from the emergency department are processed into the lab immediately so that our patients can receive the life-saving care they need. My plan of action is to consult with employees from the office and the phlebotomy and technology so that everyone can voice their concerns and suggestions. I also plan to investigate options within the electronic operational system to determine if it is possible to include notifications of stat specimens so that alarm will sound only for stats and not sound for routine specimens. I need to consult with inpatient nursing stations to determine possibilities of them transporting specimens in batches to alleviate the constant upheaval of repeated interruptions. We need some solutions, and we need to stop finger pointing. My plan is to use the Nadler and Tushman congruence model to develop the change plan. The history of our lab and its employees may have an effect on the developments, so I must pay careful attention to include everyone's job responsibilities in the process. It's important for me to look at the whole picture and not just how the process irritates technologists. It is my goal to focus on our common purpose and work together as a team. Success is going to be measured by the increased satisfaction of my coworkers and myself by reducing the number of alarms from routine specimens. The sweet sound of silence is my personal goal. Our need for change. I've spoken with several individuals throughout the lab with different job descriptions, and everyone agrees there needs to be a change. There is no accountability for the processing of these important specimens. We're very short-staffed due to our recent acquisition by a larger lab, and the frustration has resulted in an us versus them attitude amongst the staff. We started looking for possible solutions, and we came up with several, including the possibility of inpatient departments batching their non-stat specimens. Another necessity is assigning responsibility to the bullet. Someone must be accountable. And as a team, we must refocus on our core values of providing excellent customer care. Our hospital's mission statement is we will make a healthy difference in the lives we touch. Our hospital's vision statement is we are all here for you. So I chose to make my change project vision statement, we are all here together, to keep in line with the hospital's values and mission. My next step in the project was to determine stakeholder, power, and force field analyses. The key stakeholders in this process are medical technologists, phlebotomists, office personnel, nursing staff, and the laboratory management team. We all have a vested interest in the outcome of this change. Furthermore, we have all complained together about the process, and now we must search together for a solution. The power analysis was rather fun. After all, who doesn't like the feeling of having a little power? Our laboratory director definitely holds positional power. No changes can be made without her approval. Information of knowledge power is held by the team of individuals working with me on this project. And personality power is also present and growing as more and more people get on board with making the necessary changes. Everyone involved has possession of naysaying power. However, we are hoping to avoid any problems with this type of power by motivating everyone to work together as a team. My force field analysis involved the laboratory staff and the impact this change will have on us. We realize that change is good and we are focused on that, resulting in us being a driving force. The nursing staff is an external force that might prevent the change if they're not willing to batch specimens. The facilities director could also be an external force that could inhibit our change if he's not willing to get information about the technology that we need. The laboratory director can also become a driving force for this change. Just bringing her into the conversation about change instead of constantly complaining is getting us off to a great start. Ready, set, go. It's time for the action plan. Great ideas are worthless if they're not implemented, so it's time to focus on that plan. I formed my to-do list, as you can see listed here, which began with confirming the support of my laboratory director. I contacted all the inpatient departments about how specimens are handled. I created and distributed a laboratory employee survey and confirmed possible changes to the technology with facilities director. I contacted nursing directors about the modification of specimen handling. And finally, we collated the results of the laboratory employee survey with the management team. I've shown you here a copy of my responsibility chart that I use to help with my to-do list. The final steps are measuring change. Although we are still in the middle of the process of this change, while we wait for answers about the technology of the system, we can already measure some success by our less frequent trips to the bullet. The floor has begun batching some of their non-stat specimens, and this is resulting in a little more sweet silence. The management team has communicated that the primary responsibility of the bullet does belong to the office personnel, and we are all, including the phlebotomist and technologist, expected to help when we can. We are using the belief system to help measure our change, focusing once again on our core values, motivating expected behavior, and overcoming resistance to change. My critical decision points were whose responsibility is the bullet. Education and training were needed to reinforce management's decision. We need the cooperation of other departments for a successful change, and we needed to know what adjustments can be made with the technology, such as quieter alarms or alarms only activated from the emergency room. What have I learned from this change project experience? I have learned that communication is truly the key to success. Just talking about the issue got everyone engaged, brainstorming ideas, reminding us that we are one department, and resulted in immediate changes. I have also learned that there is power in determination. Overcoming obstacles as they arise and focusing on the prize is giving me new boldness, even as we remain flexible. And I have definitely gained new respect for leaders who can orchestrate successful change. We are all going to be involved in change throughout our lives and careers, and we just need to decide the best path to take and proceed with integrity. Thanks for your time. I hope you enjoyed this presentation.